It is warming up, and it's warming up even more so. So we love it. Hopefully you love it. And we're expecting to see these conditions last maybe even to the weekend. We'll let you know in your extended forecast in just a bit. First, we're taking you outside right now to downtown, where we're looking at mostly clear conditions. Temperatures still on the warmer side compared to where we've been the last few nights. We're at 56 degrees tonight, so a good 6 degrees warmer compared to where we were at this time last night. We still have several wind advisories in store through the 10 o'clock hour. That's 10 o'clock tonight. Once they expire, we're still expecting breezy conditions and maybe a few gusts as well as we head into the next few days, but winds are starting to die down a bit. Earlier today, though, we did see some significant wind gusts. Take a look at this through the Newhall Pass. 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts, Simi Valley at 44, Topanga Hills 36, and in Ventura County in the mountains, 76-mile-an-hour wind gusts earlier today. Very impressive. Right now, still impressive through the Santa Valley. We're at 20 miles an hour. Everybody's starting to subside a little bit, and you'll see in the IE we're at wind speed. So that's good news. And you'll see toward the coast along the Ventura County coastal plain, Oxnard, 9-mile-an-hour sustained winds, and through the mountains still looking at gusty conditions. Currently, temperatures are in the 40s, the 50s, even the 60s out there. 61 in downtown, 61 Pasadena, and 40 in Wrightwood. Again, more warming on the way. Already warmer out there tonight. We'll have all of those numbers coming up for you in just a bit. Rick and Sharon, back to you.
All right. Gosh, it was so beautiful out today.
It was, except that where I live, there was a lot of wind. So,
oh, that's right.
It was a little warmer, which was nice, but then it was pretty windy.
Yeah, it was windy, and we're still under wind advisories until 10 o'clock. So we're not fully in the clear. We saw some really impressive wind gusts today, 50, 60, even 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, depending on where you live.
Exactly, exactly. So some of us calm, but some of us still dealing with pretty warm and windy conditions. So let's get right to your forecast. And as we do, we're going to take you outside. Official advisories or warnings, but even then, we're still looking at a breezy forecast as those offshore winds continue to kick in. Take a look right here. We've got a wind advisory, as we just mentioned, for spots like Burbank, Glendale, Simi Valley, Thousand Oaks. So parts of Ventura County there, the coastal plain, interior portions of Ventura County, the IE, parts of Orange County, and the San Fernando Valley, along with the Santa Clarita Valley, dealing with the advisory until 10 o'clock this evening. Wind gusts earlier today, pretty impressive in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Topanga Hills, though, at 36. Laguna Peak, that's in Ventura County in the mountains. There's 76 miles an hour, 44 for Simi, and Newhall Pass, 65 miles an hour. So take a look right here. We're dealing with 20-mile-an-hour sustained wind speed still for Santa Clarita. Still windy out there. Other spots calming down, and other spots cooling down a bit as well. 41 in Lancaster, 40 in Wrightwood, 41 in the Apple Valley, 61 in Pasadena, and 61 as well. That's for downtown. So we've got warm temperatures in the forecast. We also have cool nights ahead, breezy to windy, and a cool down in store as we head into next week. But we've got a ways to go before we get there. Earlier today, we were above average. We were at 76 degrees, rather. That was for downtown. Average is 68. So we were above average for the year. Record numbers, 90. Didn't get anywhere too close to that. And over the next 24 hours, we're looking at 40s, 50s, and by the afternoon, we are flirting with the 80s in downtown, where you could even reach the 80s in some of our inland spots. We're leaving things close, though, for now. Downtown, 79, Ontario, 76, Irvine, 76, and Oxnard getting up to a warm 79 degrees. For the valleys in the Inland Empire, sunshine across the board. 80s potentially in some of our inland spots as well, and keeping things that way through your Monday, and by Tuesday, a little bit of a cool down, but still warm and still sunny out there. For the Basin County, we're flirting with the 80s all week long. Things really staying the same. You'll see tomorrow, carbon copy of Saturday, Sunday, even Monday. By Tuesday, still pleasant. I will tell you after Tuesday, things might start to cool down. And for the coast, we're in the 70s all week long with plenty of sunshine. Rick and Sharon, back to you. And we're bracing for more warming. We'll have your full forecast coming up. That's true. We've got lots of those in the forecast. So Sharon, you're going to like this forecast. We're going to take you through it in just a minute. We'll show you where we're expecting 80s in the forecast. We've got lots of 70s as well as we take you outside to the Santa Monica. You're going to see a few people out and about this evening. Temperatures on the warmer side, 57 degrees. That's right here at the Broadcast Center in Studio City. Wind speeds currently coming in at 20 miles an hour for the Santa Clarita Valley, so still quite windy there. Oxnard along the Ventura County coastal plain, we're still windy. 11-mile-an-hour sustained winds in the mountains, pretty windy, and in the valleys as well. Things are starting to die down. We've got advisories in store till 10 o'clock, but eventually we see calmer conditions, and even then we're still expecting some gusts. Speaking of wind gusts, we have a few updated numbers for you. Newhall Pass earlier was gusting in the 60s. Now the latest peak wind gust to come down was 49 miles an hour. Saugus 47, Valley 44, Acton 44, Topanga 36. In Laguna Peak earlier you were gusting in the 70s. The latest peak wind gust to come in was 63 miles an hour. So we still have those wind advisories as we mentioned through 10 o'clock, but even after that we could continue to see breezy conditions, a few isolated gusts as well. Currently temperatures in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 61 in downtown, 40 in Lancaster, 40 in Wrightwood, and 56 in San Bernardino. So we've got warm temperatures ahead. We also have cool nights ahead. Not as cold as where we've been, but cool, breezy, windy still, even without the advisories in store. You have a cool down in store, but that doesn't hit until we head into next. Earlier today, we made the 76 in downtown, average 68, record 90. Didn't get anywhere too close to that, and getting a little cooler actually over the next few days. Over the next 24 hours, we're in the 40s and 50s for the basin, flirting with the 80s. Few spots potentially even getting to the 80s tomorrow, but we're leaving things sort of wavering between the upper 70s and the 80s. So you'll see right here, Santa Clarita tomorrow, 73 degrees, Thousand Oaks, 77, Oxnard, 79, and Santa Monica, 72 degrees. Taking you over to Anaheim, 75 degrees, La Puente at 76, Chino, 76 degrees, Palmdale, 65. So we head over to Menifee, 70, Temecula, 72 as well. So we take you up to the mountains, Big Bear at a gorgeous 55 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. So we are even expecting a few 80s out there, turning to the 70s for the basin, Orange County, upper 70s all week long. Things really staying much the same through the weekend. First part of next week for the coast, 70s across the board. Checking into the mountains, 50s with plenty of sunshine, and finally checking into the deserts. We're in the mid 60s for the majority of the week, but still cold overnight with temperatures falling into the teens. Rick and Sharon, back to you. Great question, and they're probably going to stick around for a while. We'll show you exactly how long in a minute, but first we're taking you outside right now and getting a look at downtown from our Mount Wilson camera. It's clear, it's not quite as cool as where it's been, and again we are looking at warmer temperatures all around. 57 right here at the Broadcast Center in Studio City, 57 in Burbank, 56 downtown Ontario, 52 Lancaster, 34, so a little colder for the high desert of course, in Oxnard at 59 degrees. Significant wind gusts over the last few hours here. Newhall Pass now at 49 miles an hour. Earlier you were in the 60s. Saugus 47, Topanga Hills 36, Laguna Peak in Ventura County 63 miles an hour. A little earlier you were in the 70s. Pretty impressive there. So we do have some wind advisories still in store through 10 o'clock, so just less than an hour to go. And with that, we're looking at breezy conditions. But even as the wind advisories expire, we could potentially still see breezy to even gusty conditions in some spots. Right now, the wind's still coming in at about 22 miles an hour from the northeast in Santa Clarita, 12 miles an hour for Oxnard, 9 for Burbank, 7 for Santa Monica. So here's the drill. We've got warm temperatures during the day, cool temperatures overnight, not as cool as where we've been, but still cool, breezy to windy conditions, even though we don't have any advisories in store as we head into the next few days. We do have a cool down ahead, but that doesn't hit till next week. So we'll show you what we can expect for the rest of your work week, your Friday tomorrow, and your weekend. It's all coming up in your extended forecast in just a little bit, so don't go away. Back to you. All right. Very high winds in the forecast. We've got wind advisories in the forecast through 10 o'clock, but even after that, when they expire, we're still looking at maybe some gusty conditions out there. Let's get a look outside right now, and as we do, clear and a little warmer than what we've been used to. We're in the 50s generally tonight, and current wind speeds still moving 22 miles an hour in Santa Clarita. These are your sustained wind speeds, so your gusts even higher than that, and still at 12 miles an hour in Oxnard. So your gusts look a little bit like this, 30s, 40s, even a few 60s in the last few hours. Laguna Peak in Ventura County up to 63 miles an hour. Simi Valley at 44. Newhall Pass earlier today gusting in the 60s, now gusting in the upper 40s. 56 in downtown right now, Ontario 52, Lancaster 34, and Oxnard 59 degrees. We've got warm temperatures ahead, cool nights ahead, not as cool as where we've been, but still cool. Breezy to windy and cooling down as we head into next week. Earlier today, we made it to 76 in downtown. The average is 68, so we were well above average. And you'll see over the next 24 hours, we're talking 40s, 50s, and flirting with the 80s by the afternoon. So highs tomorrow look like this: 73 in Santa Clarita, 79 downtown, 72 in Santa Monica, and 74 in Torrance, 76 in La Puente. And take a look, Burbank getting up to 80, El Monte 78, in Norco at 75, Ontario 76. You'll see San Bernardino 73, the Apple Valley 63, and in the mountains, Big Bear getting up to 55, Palm Springs getting up to a gorgeous 73 degrees as we head into tomorrow afternoon. So as we get a look at your 5-day forecast, the valleys in the Inland Empire in the 80s pretty much for the remainder of the week, then in the upper 70s by next week, cooling down a little later in your forecast closer to Wednesday and Thursday. But for now, the next 5 days flirting with the 80s in the Basin and in Orange County, with mid-70s by next week for the coast, 70s across the board, getting down to about 70 on Tuesday, but still calling it beach weather with sunshine pretty much across the board for all of us. Lena and Sharon, back to you. And we're warming up as we head into the next few days. We'll have that full forecast coming right up.
Story. Well, we have beautiful, beautiful weather. I don't know what to do with myself. It was so nice outside today, right?
Hard for me to go outside because it's very windy where I live. I mean, very windy, yeah.
But it's dying down. That's the good news.
I hope so.
The wind advisories are expiring. Doesn't mean it's not going to be windy at all.
Because I want to go outside.
Well, you should go outside.
I can't do that right now.
You should go outside. You probably could. No, it's pretty windy, actually.
Fly away like Mary Poppins without the umbrella.
Right? Yeah, seriously. 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts.
Really?
Rick would fly
You
away.
think I'm kidding, don't you? Yeah.
It really
like
was that
usual,
windy.
but no.
Yeah. But you know, it's going to calm down. And as it calms down, conditions are going to get a little warmer as well. It will be a bit breezy out there in some spots, but remember, those advisories officially expiring, well, pretty soon here, less than 30 minutes. Here in Studio City, a few people out and about at the pier, and it is actually a little warmer there as well. We're in the 50s generally. So as we get a look at satellite radar, it is clear, and again, it is breezy out there at the moment. As we get a look at the big picture, you're going to see that massive ridge of high pressure still sitting over Southern California. It's producing that clockwise rotation, which is generating offshore flow. What happens when we see offshore flow? Well, the wind is blowing from land to sea. So it pushes out all that cloud cover. It warms us up. And again, since it's generated over the land, it's a warmer wind. So it's causing temperatures to warm up a little bit. We still do have those wind advisories again in effect for a little longer, again for spots like Thousand Oaks, Glendale, Burbank, San Fernando Valley, the IE, parts of Orange County as well. And even after they expire, still could see breezy conditions. Santa Clarita especially, 24 mile an hour sustained winds, Oxnard at 18. So we've seen wind gusts in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Laguna Peak actually earlier clocked in the 70s, now at 63, and Newhall clocked in the 60s earlier today. The latest gust coming in at 49 miles an hour. Right now, temperatures in the 50s and a few 30s even in the higher elevations, Riverside at 60 degrees. So we're warming up as we head into the next few days. Take a look at your 5-day forecast. You're going to see that for the valleys in the Inland Empire. We're getting up into the 80s for the next few days in the upper 70s. Then as we look at the Basin in Orange County, we're flirting with the 80s for the next few days and the mid-70s by Tuesday. For the coast, we're in the 70s across the board with plenty of sunshine. And for the mountains, we're in the mid-50s, low 50s in a few spots, 20s and 30s overnight with nothing but sunshine. And finally checking in with the deserts. Sunshine across the board, 60s and cold into the overnight hours. Lena and Rick, back to you. And temperatures are continuing to warm up. We'll show you exactly how warm it's going to get and how long it's going to last. But you know, when you're doing something like that and you're trying to rescue somebody, I'm sure you're tunnel vision at that point.
Right. You're doing good.
Exactly.
You have a mission.
Exactly.
Look at the moon.
What do you got behind you there?
Isn't that amazing?
Somebody following you?
It's the woo! It's the moon. Pretty cool shot of the moon from Sky 9. Thank you for that. So take a look right here. Again, gorgeous shot of the moon. Looks like cheese. All right, getting a look at our satellite radar right now. Huge ridge of high pressure building over Southern California. And with that, we're looking at clear conditions, warm conditions, and dry conditions as that clockwise rotation around the high brings in the offshore flow. It's bringing in the breezy conditions and really keeping the cloud cover out of the forecast. All the advisories expiring at this point wind-wise, but regardless, we're still seeing some breezy to even windy conditions out there for the Santa Clarita Valley. and parts of Ventura County as well. Wind gusts earlier today topping 40 miles an hour. I will tell you, Laguna Peak 63 miles an hour, and even earlier the last peak wind gust to come in was in the 70s, so we did pretty good in the way of gusts, and we're not ruling out the chance of gusty conditions over the next few days. Temperatures right now in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and a few 60s out there along the coast. Riverside at 59. Right here at the Broadcast Center in Studio City, 55. So we've got warm temperatures. We've got a few cool nights ahead. Breezy to windy conditions cooling as we head into next week. But until then, nothing but. 76 degrees earlier today in downtown. Average is 68, so we were above average by tomorrow, continuing to stay well above average. You'll see 81 in Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley 79, Oxnard 79 as well, 72 in Santa Monica. As we head over to Ontario, 76, Palmdale 65, Long Beach 76, and Burbank at a very warm 80 degrees. We haven't talked about 80s in quite a while. You'll see Big Bear at 55 tomorrow, 73 in San Bernardino, and 76 in Lake Elsinore. So for the Basin in Orange County, we are flirting with the 80s for the remainder of the week into next week with nothing but sunshine. For the beaches, we're in the 70s. We're calling it beach weather pretty much every single day of the week. For the valleys and the Inland Empire, sunshine across the board, 80s eventually turning to upper 70s, and by the later part of next week, that's when we're going to start to cool things down a little bit. And for the mountains, we're in the 50s pretty much all week long, plenty of sunshine, 20s and 30s overnight. And finally, checking in with the deserts. We're mild during the day. We're in the 60s. We're looking at sunshine across the board through at least the first part of next week. But overnight, that's where it gets a little cold. We're still in the teens into the overnight hours, but other than that, we're bouncing back with plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures pretty much for the entire Southland. Rick and Sharon, back to you.